it's Laura here from makingcardsisdone.com and welcome to another card making video tutorial. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to create a very clean and simple card, and I'll also be showing you how to do some masking. In today's video, I'm using the Flying By stamp set from Uniquely Creative. Uniquely Creative is an Australian-based stamp company. They also offer different kits like scrapbooking kits and card making kits. So just make sure to check out their website for more information. I linked to them in my blog post. I'm starting out by heat embossing the hello greeting from the Flying By stamp set on some white cardstock. First, I am prepping my cardstock with some kitchen flour just to make sure that the embossing powder won't be sticking everywhere. So it's to remove the static cling on this cardstock. I stamped the sentiment with VersaMark ink, and now I'm sprinkling on some metallic gold sparkle embossing glitter from Wow embossing powder. So here I'm just heat setting this sentiment, and then I'll be using two other sentiment stamps from the Flying By stamp sets just to finish it off. I am positioning the Flying By to say and the Friend stamp on this cardstock with my Misty tool. Of course, you can also just use an acrylic block to stamp your sentiments. So I'm inking up these stamps with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm stamping them, and then I'll have a really fun sentiment. Okay, so next I'm going to be doing some masking. First, I lined up all of my stamps, so I'm using these little birds, and you want to make sure that you stamp the designs you want on the front first. So in this case, I'm stamping two little birds and then one dragonfly. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink since this ink works really well with Copic markers. And I'm using Nina Solar White cardstock for today's Copic coloring, using the 80-pound paper. So then I stamped these little birds once more on some Simon Says stamp masking paper, and then I'm fuzzy cutting them with my EK Success Cutter Bee scissors. So after I cut these out, I'm going to adhere my masks, and then I can position the rest of these stamps. So I'm just going to stamp some of the leaves and the branches, and I wanted to position these stamps behind the birds. So that's why I stamped the birds first. Always stamp the images you want on the front first. So I'm inking these up with black ink, and then I'm stamping them. And then as you can see, when I will remove this mask, it will look like the birds are sitting on the trees and the leaves, which I think is just such a cool effect. Masking is definitely a little bit of a time-consuming technique, but I think it's just really worth it because it adds so much dimension to your cards, and it will probably make non-card makers think, how did they do that? So I think it's just an impressive but time-consuming technique, but I really like doing it. So then I just stamped some more flowers, some more leaves and branches, and as you can see, I'm using some more masking paper because I want these birds to be on the front of my paper. So next, I actually stamped more birds and branches, but I didn't show that on camera, so I just am going to show you how I color these. So for the leaves, I'm using YG67, YG17, and YG03, and I'm always starting out with my darkest color, then I move on to my mid-tone, and then finally I use the lightest color to add some highlight. For those smaller leaves, I'm only using two colors since three would be too much since these are just so small. So when I use two colors, I just use the darkest shade and the lightest shade. Then for this little flower, I'm using R24, R22, and R11. And then for these little berries, I'm using R43 and R20. So as you can see, I'm only using 2 colors for these small images. Then for the orange berries, I'm using YR16 and YR21. And this is just a really easy Copic coloring technique, but it really works for me, and I also like the results. Then for this dragonfly, I'm using B37 and B12. These are actually some new Copic markers. I recently purchased some darker shades of blue since I didn't have those yet. So right now I just need some more purple, and then I'm pretty happy with my Copic marker collection. Then for this bird over here, I'm using R43, R20, and R11. Then for the rest of the birds, I'm using YR18, YR16, and YR21. Also using some shades of red, I'm using R24, R22, and R20. And this color scheme was actually inspired by a t-shirt I recently purchased at H&M. H&M recently collaborated with a British brand called GP&J Baker, and I purchased this adorable t-shirt with a bird pattern, and I thought it was just really adorable, and it really inspired me to make this card actually. So this card is definitely inspired by the shirt. So as you can see, inspiration is everywhere. So for this bird, I'm also using YR18, YR16, and YR21, and then I also use those same shades of peach and pink and red. So I'm just using all of the, I think 4 or 5 Copic combos for this whole card, just to have a really nice and peaceful color scheme. So after coloring all of these images, I'm going to adhere this piece on a standard size note card with some foam squares. I'm using some Bazzill Shoppe cardstock. So there you go. Then I also wanted to add some more sparkle and shine and dimension on this card. So first I'm using a Spectrum Noir glitter pen to add some sparkle to all of these images. Then I'm also going to use Tonic Nuvo Crystal Glaze to add some dimension. So as you can see, this Spectrum Noir glitter pen really adds a nice layer of glitter. It's my favorite glitter pen out there. I tried out the Wing of Stella glitter pen. I also used the Tonic Nuvo glitter pen, but so far the Spectrum Noir glitter pen has definitely been my favorite because it adds so much sparkle. Then to finish this card off, I'm going to add some Tonic Nuvo drops, which I have been using a lot lately. I'm using Honey Gold for the gold color. Then for this one over here, I'm using Bubblegum Blush. Then the orange color I'll be using is called Ripened Pumpkin. And then for the blue, I used Dazzling Blue. So I used some Nuvo drops that looked similar to the Copic markers that I used, just to have a nice and cohesive look. So, oh yeah, I'm also going to add some of the, I think it's called White Blizzards. Yeah, these are the White Blizzard Tonic Nuvo drops. Alright, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye!